devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome in, everyone, to the SIG podcast with producer Shayne. Obviously, I am not Tony Marinaro, who is, however, in Washington. For those who don't follow his social media accounts, he flew there this morning in a private jet with the guys from Le Club du Matin on BPM Sport. And we're going to try to get them on the show a little bit later on. Of course, talking about this Habs loss 3-1 to the Washington Capitals. They fall in the series down to nothing. There's no shortage of topics tonight, folks. We're going to have a great show. Of course, we're going to bring in our usual guest, Pierre McGuire, a little bit later on. Before we get rolling into all of this, I do want to take some time to thank the sponsors responsible for this show. And we're going to start with Energy Transportation Group. They are a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different. As well, we're brought to you by Playground. If you're looking for the ultimate entertainment destination, Playground is your ticket to nonstop thrills. Experience the heart-pumping gaming action and a world-class poker experience. Playground is the 2025 winner of Fan Choice Best Poker Room at the Global Poker Awards. Indulge in your taste buds at our incredible restaurants, then let loose with live music and electrifying DJs. You can enjoy unmatched customer service just minutes away from downtown Montreal, right across the Mercier Bridge. Why settle for ordinary? Folks, we're not going to be taking calls tonight, unfortunately. However, we will try to get to some of your questions. So do go in the chat, send in your questions, send in your frustration, your thoughts, let it all out, folks. Okay, it's fine. There's still more hockey to be played. All right. Now, to help me break down this game, it's time for the McGuire Report.
The McGuire Report. Presented by Vago Italian.
That's right. Vago has been open for 23 years. Longevity, right? Not many restaurants open that long. Private dining rooms for any occasions, birthday, engagements, corporate meetings, you name it. Plenty of free parking after 6. They're open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch Tuesday to Friday. Fresh quality ingredients, old world Italian and new Italian. Come and see Tommaso, the most popular man in Westmount. All right, Pierre McGuire. I'm excited to talk some hockey with you on screen. We've been talking for quite some time off screen, however, but it's nice to finally have this chance. Pierre, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, Shayne. It's so nice to work with you tonight.
I appreciate that. I'm excited, even though we are talking about a loss. I think there is quite a bit of positive to come out of this game. Mm-hmm. And this is how I want to start the show. I don't want to start doom and gloom. Oh, the Habs are down 2-0. It's not looking good. I want to start with some positives, okay? I think it's important to put things into perspective and context. The Habs are by far the youngest team in these playoffs right now. The average age is about 25 years old. Second youngest, I think, is Ottawa Senators. The average age is 28. So there's a pretty big gap there. And I've seen this stat somewhere. I don't know if it's completely true, but I believe they are one of, if not the youngest team to ever make the playoffs. So that's, says a lot within itself. Mm-hmm. They're the 8th seed facing the top seed, right? And they lose both games, let's just say by 1 goal, right? The empty netter at 7 seconds doesn't count. Look, for a rebuilding team who was supposed to be a lottery team, I think Habs fans can't really be too mad about this, right, Pierre?
No, you got to be really excited. First of all, how about Sam Montembeault? You know, a lot of people thought he'd be the weak link. Not so fast. Sam Montembeault has been fantastic for the Montreal Canadiens, starting with his first save in game number 1 against Connor McMichael about 6 seconds into the first period. And ever since then, he's looked fantastic. So that's number 1. That's very positive. Number 2, Slavkovsky was much better tonight. I thought he was physical. He was hard on the puck. He created opportunities offensively. He was reliable defensively. He didn't shy away from Tommy Wilson. Didn't shy away from Brandon Duhaime. He did some really good things. Nick Suzuki's a number 1 center. Cole Caulfield's getting destroyed physically, but he is still competing. Every single shift, he's competing. So that's really positive. Josh Anderson, I know some people are worried about the penalty. Josh Anderson's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. They don't want to play against Josh Anderson. Washington wants no part of Josh Anderson. That's a real positive thing for Montreal. Brendan Gallagher still got game. He's still got game. I got to admire the courage of Lane Hudson. I think you would as well. This is a hard series for this guy. First time ever in the playoffs. He's played 2 playoff games in his life in the NHL. And he's a target every single time he's on the. That's a hard way to play, and I got to say, Caden Gooley has been fantastic. Caden Gooley's been great. There's so many positive things, and one of the things that really excited me, maybe it was because of the Laine injury, but when they put Newhook on the ice with Demidov and Evans, and we've been calling for that for a while, you see the difference. Like they're making stuff happen. So Marty deserves some credit with the staff too. So there was a lot of, I saw way more positives than negatives from Montreal, way more.
You stole all my notes, Pierre. We thought of the exact same thing. And there's one more thing I'd like to mention. It's the start of the game. Yeah. It's been one of the biggest difficulties for the Habs down the stretch here. They don't know how to start games. It was the case in game 1. They got rammed. And, first period was terrible, right? Mm-hmm. The first 4 minutes in this game, I'm like, okay, like this is a different team. Now they're here to play. Things got back to normal after that, but second was terrible. But the first period, the first 4 minutes, right? That stood out to me. I'm like, I'm loving this effort. And this was all the lines, right? This wasn't just the Dvorak line with, good forecheck. Every line that came on, I thought had a really good shift. Hopefully that's something to build off of on game 3 there. But I wanted to acknowledge that off the top. Yeah.
I think you're wise to do that, Shane. I really do. The other thing that I think is important, there are no back-to-backs in this series. So you always get the day of rest. If there had to be, let's just say 3 and 4 were a back-to-back, or let's say 4 and 5 were a back-to-back. That would be harder for Montreal than it would be for Washington. Montreal's starting to play a shorter bench. I'll give you an example. Heineman played less than 8 minutes. Armia played less than 8 minutes. Laine played 10 minutes and 10 seconds. Savard played 9 minutes and 35, 40 seconds. Struble played less than 11 minutes. That's just 5 guys playing really low minutes. So other guys are, Matheson must have had huge minutes tonight. Hudson must have had huge minutes tonight. Suzuki and Caulfield and Slavkovsky must have elevated minutes. So if this would ever be a situation where there was a back-to-back, it would be hard. But because there's extra time between games, that's beneficial for Montreal. It helps a lot.
No doubt about it. And speaking of helping, look, you mentioned him, but I have to circle back here. Sam Montembeault, my goodness. Look, he's the MVP of the Habs so far without question. Without question. He's the reason they're still in this series, sort of, but, they're in the games, right? Talk to me about how that kind of performance can impact the rest of the team, knowing that you have a goaltender behind you that can make the big saves and can save you when you make the occasional mistake.
Yeah, no, I can talk about it from personal experience. 91 and 92, when we won the Cup in Pittsburgh, Tommy Barrasso, we knew every time Tommy was in net, we had a legitimate chance to win, no matter who we were playing against. The New York Rangers, if you go look at their 94 team and talk to Messi or talk to Leach or talk to Zubov, talk to the big guys on that team, they'll say, we knew every time we played, we had a chance to win because we had Mike Richter. Talk to the New Jersey Devils from the time Marty Brodeur got there till the time Marty Brodeur left to go to St. Louis. Those guys knew every single time Marty put the pads on, they had a chance to win. I'm not saying Sam Montembeault is better than any of those guys. I don't know if but what I'm telling you is the effect when you have a goalie playing like this, it's the same. The guys going to the dressing room saying, okay, we got Sammy, And then when they get on the ice, like, we got a legit chance to win. So that's really important. There's a great story. I was doing the game. It was in Detroit, and I won't tell you which team, but one of the players came by the bench, and he looked right at the entire bench during a TV timeout, and he says, is this guy ever going to make a save? And he was talking about his own goalie.
Oof.
So I'm just telling you, you got to have a guy that you trust. And I think Montreal's got a guy that they trust in Sam Montembeault.
How could you not? I mean, he was remarkable, and he's silencing the doubters, right? We talked about this. Like, he was the question mark heading into the series because we've been accustomed to him having, a good game and then letting in the occasional softie that ended up costing the game. So far, he's irreproachable. No bad things to say about him. Second goal, the rebound. Where was the help? Where was the defense on this? Dylan Strome shouldn't be alone in that one. So save me that, right? He has not let in a bad goal so far this series. Credit to Sam Montembeault. And look, this is a Habs podcast, but I got to give credit where credit is due. Logan Thompson, my goodness. I mean, coming off an injury, hasn't played since April 2nd. These 2 games, he really kept the Caps in it. And, the Jake Evans thing, that was a post. That wasn't a save, but he did make some incredible saves tonight. I got to give credit to Logan Thompson.
Yeah, no, of course you do. Look, this could have been a different game in the first 5 to 6 minutes. You raised it right at the top of the show, Shane, and I think it's really appropriate. Montreal had a great start. If it's not for Logan Thompson, Montreal's probably 1-1 in this series to start. I'm just telling you, because I've been in that building before when Pittsburgh used to go in there and steamroll the Capitals, and after 6 or 7 minutes, it was over.
Yeah.
And it could have been the same thing tonight. Obviously, it wasn't. But all I would say is about Montreal in particular, they're not as big. They're not as burly. They're not as mean. But they got guts. Their team has courage. They really have a lot of courage.
Yeah.
And that can never be taken away from them. I'm really encouraged. I don't know if they're going to win this series or not, but all I know is 1 game at a time. And right now I've seen 2 games, and I'm really impressed with the progression every time they go on the ice. It's really fun to watch.
This experience, I mean, it's invaluable, right? To have this young group experience playoff hockey this early in the rebuild is rare to begin with, but I mean, that value, it's progressive throughout the rest of their careers. And we're far from the prime Habs that, Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes are building towards. When they're going to get to that point, forget, like, this is going to be a peewee team in comparison, right? But just to see, like you saying, Pierre, they're staying in the game against the top seed, a team that by all means is considered a contender this season. They're staying in it, and they're never giving up, which leads me to my last positive, because yes, I'm not blind. We're going to get to some negatives, okay? But my last positive here was the third period, right? We're accustomed now that the third period is the Habs period. No matter if they're trailing or in a lead, the third period, they always show up and they play until the end of the game. That was no different again tonight. They had 12 shots in the first 2 periods combined. 14 in the third. They really stepped it up. They wanted that win. Like I said, Logan Thompson, right, stood on his head, didn't let that happen. But the third period, talk to me about the importance of that, right? Never giving up, always having that killer instinct that even though you're down, you're not out.
Staying power matters, especially when you're playing in a physical series. Can your guys withstand the first 20, the first 40, and how do they react in the last 20? So staying power is part of this. When you're evaluating a team's performance, they're showing that they've got staying power. So physical strength is there, physical intensity is there, mental strength is there, and fearlessness is there. So those are all, those are all things that really matter. And so that's really positive for Montreal, extremely positive.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to get into the negatives here in a bit, but I want to remind everyone that we are live. So go in the chat, send in your questions for Pierre and I. We're going to try to get to them a little later on in this one. We're still waiting on Tony and the crew from BPM Spa. Hopefully we'll get to hear their thoughts live from Washington. Before we transition to the bit of the negative stuff, I want to shout out our friends over at La Bittt at Tibi. As you know by now, they've launched their new Ultra Lager. It's a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer perfect to watch these playoffs with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, and 4% ABV per can. They're available in packs of 6 and 12 in grocery stores and C-stores all around the province of Quebec. It's ultra light and ultra refreshing. I'm not reading the chat, Pierre, but I can already smell the Laine comments here.
Yeah.
Look, let me preface this by saying that it's nothing short of a miracle that he's still playing in the NHL after what he went through, right? It's remarkable, and it's a testament to his character, and I will never discredit him from that. And he got injured in the preseason, did not get an operation because he wanted to play. So he's not at 100%, and he got dinged up there today by Dowd, nicked him on the knee there.
Yep.
But I mean, at one point, like, he didn't play in the third period, right? Why was that? He wasn't just not helping the Habs; he was helping the Caps. It became too bad. I don't know what to do anymore now.
Neither do they, I think. This is going to be a really tough one. And I don't know if they've already had discussions with Patrik, but he's not good enough 5-on-5. And the body language isn't good. And again, I don't want to beat up on him because I don't know the injury situation. Like, we could find out in 2 weeks if this guy needs major surgery on something.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be really careful with players in the playoffs that you think are underachieving, because sometimes, more times than not, they're not underachieving. They're playing through something that's really bad, and they can't handle it. So I just want to caution everybody. I sense your frustration. I watched the same thing you did, and it's not fun to watch. And especially when you know how good the player could be and has been. So it's a little bit frustrating. But they need, if they're going to win the series, they need more pop from him. Especially, forget the 5-on-5 on the power play.
Oh, yeah.
On the power, like, there's got to be, and that's when I talk about body language. I could see one time Laine passing the puck, and it wasn't right in his wheelhouse. So he kind of stopped it, hung on to it. He's kind of glaring, and then he moved it right back to Laine. But you could see he was angry. He's like, put it where I need it to shoot it. The best guys don't do that. The best guys say, okay, I'll make an adjustment. We'll figure it out. But you could just see there's something bothering him. I don't know what it is. Something's bothering him.
Clearly the confidence is shaken here. It's taken a hit. And I mean, he was benched the entire third period. So it's probably not going to improve for next game. But look, even his shot, right, which has been throughout the season consistent. Almost every time Laine got him the puck on the power play, it seemed to go in, right? And now he can't even hit the net. He's not trusting himself. He's like, no, okay, I'll send it back to you. No, I don't like this. Like you're saying, he's not trusting himself. And now is the time for change. The puck movement in the power play was atrocious. Atrocious. Like, there's no sugarcoating this.
But Shane, I got to give credit where credit's due. Scotty Allen's assistant coach in Washington, and people don't know this. He's one of the best power play penalty kill coaches in the league. He really is, and maybe in the world. With a really bad team in Arizona, and Dvorak played on that team. You can ask Dvorak. He'll tell you, Scotty Allen's penalty kill schemes are phenomenal, and they change shift to shift, period to period, and game to game, because he doesn't camouflage stuff. And I've known Scotty forever when he was a kid playing for the Johnstown Jets in the East Coast Hockey League for Nicky Fotiu, the legendary Nicky Fotiu. So this guy's paid his dues, a lot like Spencer Carberry has. Yeah. So as much as the Canadiens' power play wasn't great, I get it. I know that too. I'm going to give credit like you did before, where credit's due. Their schemes are good. They've been very good on the penalty kill for a long time, and they got one of the best penalty killing coaches in the entire league in Scotty Allen.
That's it. And now, obviously, the power play hasn't really worked in the playoffs. They did get a goal there. Caulfield scored in game 1, but it also hasn't worked for the last few weeks in the regular season. So why not change it? Why not? You have Ivan Demidov now.
Fair. No, those are all fair points. But I think we've learned since Marty's taken over here as coach, he's going to do it his way. And, his way, I think, is more about positive energy, making the guys feel good about themselves, trying to make sure we sort it out through positive and constructive coaching rather than negative and humiliation and all that. So he's got his own methods. And you know what? You got to be honest. You can't complain about him right now because it's worked pretty well for them.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about that. But and I know the comments, they're clamoring for it. They're clamoring. And look, Martin St. Louis, anybody saying fire him and he shouldn't be a coach,
please,
they don't know hockey. That is outrageous. This guy will be a finalist for the head coach of the year trophy. Look, he has done an incredible job with this team, and firing him would be a monumental mistake. Okay. However, I think it's, constructive criticism can be beneficial in this case, and pointing out the fact that might be timed for some changes like he did in the third. We have to credit him in that, right, Pierre? You mentioned it off the top. He made adjustments, benched Laine, put Demidov with Newhook and Evans there, which was fantastic. That line worked well. So he is able to make on-the-fly adjustments. Hopefully next game we see an adjustment on the power play, but hey, that's for next game. We're talking about this game right now.
I think we could see an adjustment too with the lineup. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Arber goes in. Especially on home ice, you get last change, so you can kind of dictate the matchups. I thought they'd put him in tonight. They didn't. Obviously, I got that wrong, but I do think eventually he'll find his way into the lineup. I do.
I mean, I think you were the one who brought it up on Tony's show, and you brought it up again on the eye test with our friend Jimmy Murphy there. 11-7. Why not try it, right? You benched a forward the entire third period. Might as well bring in an extra defenseman, lower the workload of Matheson and Carrier, because they're doing too much.
We talked about it, though. Heineman and Armia both played under 8 minutes. That's two guys. Plus, you count in Laine, who played less than 11 minutes. That's 3 guys playing less than 11 minutes. That's a lot. Like, I wouldn't be afraid to go 11-7, and I would still propose that. I don't think it's an issue.
Absolutely. Well, I'm on board, and folks, let us know in the chat if you're on board for some changes in Game 3. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? You're down 2-0. Might as well try some things. We're working on getting Tony here. I know he was in the green room, but there's, Washington, whatever. Is he there? Well, while we wait for him, let me tell you all about our friends over at Betway, because you can go all the way with Betway, and you can get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. You can scan that QR code on the screen there, or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. The offer is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 years or older, and please play responsibly. I don't think Tony is ready yet. I'm going to get the green light from Sammy in a minute, but I'm also sensing some comments talking about the officiating, Pierre, and it's never, look, I am not blaming the refs on this one. No. I am not. Let me preface by saying that, right? However, throughout these playoffs so far, I mean, we look back at the Toronto-Ottawa game yesterday. The officiating, unfortunately, has had an impact on certain results, right? And instead of, finger pointing and saying, he's bad, let's think progressive here. Let's think, how can this situation be remedied? How can the NHL, because that's who should be blamed here, how can the NHL help the officiating crew when the hockey is at this level and this pace, Pierre?
For about 6 or 7 years, I really thought about this a lot, and I think they should do is put one referee on the ice, 2 linesmen on the ice, and 1 referee upstairs in the box. He's got the bird's eye view. Everybody can communicate just like they do in soccer. Yeah. And I think it would speed up video review. The players would know there'd be somebody upstairs evaluating them, and you can see everything from upstairs, everything. The game goes a lot slower too. Constant communication with the on-ice referee. And the biggest thing, because we've gone to this 2 referee, 2 linesman situation, it would preserve careers. Guys would last longer because they wouldn't be out there all the time working. Our careers for the officials are getting shorter and shorter because of the injuries. There are a lot of guys that are been out of the game for a while now that were still very serviceable officials, but they got hurt because of the grind and the wear and tear. So I think it would do a lot of things, but the biggest thing it would do, behind the play, it would catch a lot of guys, and in the slot areas, it would catch a lot of guys. and it would make video reviews so much faster. So much faster.
Oh, it's not even funny. No, but I'm completely on board. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
It's not because, look, they're humans. They're gonna make mistakes. They can't see everything. That's normal, right?
Yeah.
However, the game has outpaced the referees. It's
Well
too
said.
fast. There's so much happening at the same time. It's impossible to catch everything. Now, I mean,
Couldn't
tonight we
agree
saw
more, Shane. I couldn't
Right.
agree more. And I'll tell you what, it really is that fast. That the four nation thing, I've been in the NHL 35 years. I've never seen hockey played at that speed ever.
crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, tonight, unfortunately, we saw, Caulfield get cross-checked in the face bad.
How about
Gallagher
Gallagher
got
too?
cross-checked in the
Gallagher
face.
again, cross-checked in the face.
Again, got cross-checked in game one. All three of these plays, no penalties. Now, Josh Anderson boarding on Wilson, that's a penalty. No doubt about it. However, the cross-check, not the hardest, in the chest, that gets a penalty as well. At one point, there's a lack of consistency. I think that's where the frustration comes from. If they never call the cross-check, fine. That's the baseline. But again, why are you not calling the cross-check? So it's when the games matter this much, that's when the frustration just ramps up, because any little mistakes by the referees can have massive implications on the outcome of the game.
I love what you're saying. No, I agree with everything you're saying. I got to tell you, I don't know when they decided to allow cross-checking to be so prevalent and relevant in the playoffs, but somebody did, because they've decided until tonight, they decided not to call. And even tonight, they didn't call cross-checks to the face. And I got to tell you, I know what happens before every series. They always have the series supervisor come in and talk to the teams. And they say, you're looking at this, you're looking at that. This is what we're looking to do. I'm sure they didn't go in and say, oh, by the way, you're going to be able to cross-check.
Right.
But I've never seen this much cross-checking in my life. Ever since 2005, when we changed the rules, I've never seen this much cross-checking.
No, it's bad, and hopefully no injuries. I mean, the Caulfield one could have been really dangerous. He fell back on his head there.
Yeah.
Dowd just plowed through him. Like, that was really, really bad. But yeah, no penalty on the play. Look, we're not gonna speak too much on the officials. We all know it wasn't great. But Pierre, I want to go back to what I think was the turning point in this game, which is Washington's first goal. Right? It's a lucky bounce. Bad luck for the Habs, right? Goes off of David Savard, but the momentum just switched on a dime, because the Habs were good. Starting the second, picking back off the first period, momentum, and they score a nice goal. Amazing. That goes in, it's over, right? A minute later, Dylan Strome gets in. The Habs are they're out of it. The crowd's back in. How do you manage these kinds of situations, Pierre? What should they have done when that happened?
It's hard to do, especially when you're on the road, because the crowd's against you, and it's just hard. It's loud. You get frazzled. It happens. I think the biggest thing is you got to have one stabilizing shift.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a shift where you spend a lot of time in the opposition zone. You're getting some hits in. You're getting pucks on goal. You're able to slow the tempo of the game down against you and create big tempo for you. They weren't able to do that in the second period. You touched on it before, Shane. I thought it was a really appropriate comment that you made. The domination of Washington in the second period put Montreal right back on their heels. It almost looked like the first 12 minutes of the first period of game one.
Right.
It really did.
Exactly.
And I couldn't believe how wide open Washington was when they were attacking the offensive blue line. I was like, okay, what happened here? And I think the seed of doubt got planted after you correctly said the McMichael goal, the first goal. And after, it's almost like they were back and they were like, okay, how are we going to get this back on the track? But it took too long to get it back on the track.
Exactly. No, it's bad bounce, and it ended up turning the game on its heels. That's playoff hockey, folks. That's playoff hockey.
It's a fast game played on a slippery surface with no out of bounds and nasty humans. It's a tough game. It's really, especially at this level.
Yeah, well said. Well, I think Tony is ready. Sammy, if you can bring him in. Mr. Marinaro, can you hear us?
I can. Good evening, guys.
Hello. Well, hello from Washington. First of all, how was the flight?
It was very, very good. I mean, I've never been the president of the flight fan club, but the first 10 minutes were a little uncomfortable for me, very comfortable for everyone else. Last 10 minutes were a little difficult for me, but very, very easy for everyone else. But luckily, I was in excellent hands, and I know we will be on the way back too. So you know what? It was a very, very good flight. It's a very nice building. It was my first time in the building. I would say that the ambiance was very good. Close to the Bell Center, nowhere near it, but very good. Well, overall, very, very good. Unfortunately, the Montreal Canadiens were not very good for 60 minutes. They fought hard, they battled hard, but they had a passenger or two, and that's the one thing that Washington didn't have, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, we agree with you on that. Any inside intel in terms of what happened to Patrik Laine? We saw him have a little knee-on-knee with Nick Dowd, and it looked like he was laboring, but he didn't play in the third period, Tony. Did you hear anything?
No, I didn't hear anything, to be honest, Pierre. What I will tell you is this, though. The Canadiens had a power play with a couple of minutes to go in period number 2, and you could just sense the frustration. Laine was not moving much. Now, was it because he wasn't moving because he was laboring, or is it because he wasn't moving because he hasn't been moving much on the power play in the final month of the season? This is a power play that statistically just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse. And when you don't have, with all due respect, a second line, and you have a passenger or two, and you have the youngest team in the National Hockey League, and you're going up against a very veteran team who's a better team, who's bigger, who's stronger, who's got more experience, you're going to need your power play to score you big goals. And Patrik Laine, not only tonight, but for the last little while, and I don't want to pick on him, but he's just way too predictable on the power play. Now, that's not all his fault. They keep on putting him out there, but the best power plays in the league, and you know this, Pierre, they're not static. They move around. They don't make it predictable. They have different set plays, not just one. It seems like the Canadiens are always looking to get the puck back to Hudson at the blue line and looking for Hudson to give it to Laine on his off wing so he can set up for the one-timer. And everyone sees it coming, and they see it coming from a mile away.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Shane, 100% what Tony said. And one of the flaws, I think, in their schematic and the power plays is really nobody playing the bumper. And they've got to really think about that, because that would open up the one-timer for Laine, the potential one-timer for Cole Caulfield, or maybe you play Suzuki in the Patrice Bergeron bumper position, and because his shot's so good and his creativity is so good. But they've got to come up with another dynamic, because Tony's right. Everything goes back and runs through Lane Hudson, but he doesn't have a hard enough shot. He's not Al Iafrate. He's not Al McInnes. You know, he's not torching people from 45 feet. That's not going to happen. But Tony, I said something to Shane that I was wondering if you saw it as well. And I think your observation of Laine was spot on. I saw one time where he got a puck that wasn't in the wheelhouse from Lane Hudson, and he was mad, Tony. He wasn't happy about that. It was almost like he was sheepishly saying, I don't want this puck. You didn't put it in the right place. Take it back. And it was that power play that you're talking about. I saw that. I'm going, oh, that's not right. That's not good. His body language wasn't good, Tony.
And who knows if something was said in the locker room after that power play and after that period. But I also saw a Lane Hudson who, despite trying to give it to Laine, almost seems like he's looking for other options as well. Like, I know you talked about Patrik Laine's thing on that power play, but statistically, the Canadiens' power play was better before December 2nd, before Laine got into the lineup, with Cole Caulfield in Patrik Laine's spot, who was moving his feet a lot more. We know Laine's a devastating shooter. I'm going to say this. I really watched Demidov, and I watched him attentively tonight, okay? Yeah. And there's no doubt in my mind that he's not strong enough right now to be able to have an impact for playoff hockey. He's not strong enough. He gets bumped off the puck a lot. He hits the floor quite a bit. He loses some battles, and that's normal with 19-year-olds in the National Hockey League. That's going to happen. But I also saw him get better as the game went on. Mm-hmm. He got better as they gave him more ice when they played 3 lines in period number 3. And Ivan Demidov is too good of a skill set and too good of a playmaker to play 15 seconds of a power play on a second wave.
Correct.
And I'd love to see just once Caulfield in Laine's spot and Demidov in Caulfield's spot. And if that means Laine's on the bench, he's on the bench.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, looking ahead at Game 3 here, we're going to get ahead of ourselves a little bit, but I mean, Laine didn't play the entire third period. Is he even a scratch option, or do you roll with him nonetheless and you hope for the best?
Well, is he a scratch option? Yeah, he's a scratch option, I think, because he's not helping the team. And guys, there's a couple of players, and I say this with respect to David Savard, because unlike Patrik Laine, Savard, he tries his very best, but we're at the point right now of his career that he can't give what he doesn't have anymore. His pace has been very much affected. His mobility is affected. There's certain players on the team that slow down this team. Savard is one of them. That doesn't mean I would take him out next game, because I think you have to look at Struble too. Patrik Laine is another one. Joel Armia, I think, is not playing at 100%. There's a couple of players that slow down this team. This is a team to be effective. They need to play fast, and they can't play fast with some of those guys. So now, is scratching Patrik Laine an option next game? I think it is. I don't know if he's going to do it. Scratching Savard or Struble was also an option last game, and he didn't do it. But guys, I'm going to say this. I understood everything Marty St. Louis said about if I put Xhekaj in, I have to take someone out. I get that. I understood everything he said about there's pluses, but there are minuses. But now let's say this. If Marty St. Louis is true to his word when he says, you know what, Xhekaj is a card in my deck of cards that I can use, he's got no other choice but to play him the next game, guys. He's got no other choice.
Yeah.
Brandon Duhaime sent Mike Matheson flying like you can't believe. Jaden Struble had a chance to impose his will, even though Lars Eller was being the aggressor on Struble and he didn't want to do anything. Like, even Struble, who's a big, strong kid, but he's not winning his spot right now. It looks like he's playing not to lose it. And he, too, is a lot more aggressive when Xhekaj is in the lineup. And when he's not there, like, they just need him, guys, because I think they're at the point where even though they haven't lost the game on home ice yet, I just don't think they have anything to lose. Like a Xhekaj hit on a Xhekaj clean hit on a Washington player may happen and may not. If it does, who knows if it knocks a player out of the series? Who knows if it gives his team a lift? Josh Anderson was hitting everything that moved tonight and stood up to Tom Wilson for 2 games in a row now. But he's alone on an island, guys. He's alone.
No argument. I wanted Xhekaj in for Game 2. I talked about it with you after Game 1. I talked about it with you before Game 1, saying if they don't have success in Game 1, he's got to go in for Game 2. That didn't happen. You definitely have to have the nuclear deterrent. The coach talks about a deck of cards, and he's got, obviously Xhekaj is one of the cards in his deck. It's time to play the card. And just think about, you're coming, what's the one thing you want in Montreal? You want positive energy and noise. When they announce Arber Xhekaj in a lineup, if they do, makes a difference in the building. Makes a difference in the building.
Yeah. And Pierre, there's also this, I've always been told this, that when you have a guy like that on your team, it gives everyone so much more confidence. It makes everyone a little bit bigger. It makes everyone a little bit stronger. When Marty St. Louis says, is Tom Wilson going to stop hitting guys if Xhekaj is in the lineup? And he's answering his own question by basically saying that he'll still keep on hitting guys. But is he saying that Xhekaj is not going to give the guys more confidence? Because this team right now, they can use confidence. They started well. They started the first period well, and they started the second period well, and they had a good third period. But when Washington came at them in the final 10 minutes of period number 1, and Washington came at them for a good 10 minutes in period number 2, the Canadiens looked like they were nervous. They looked like they were going to get hit every chance Washington had to hit them, and they did. They looked like they didn't like it. You can see they didn't like it, and it took them out of their game. I think it's about time that you give Washington a taste of their own medicine. You might not beat them at that game, but you're not beating them at the kind of game you've tried to have in game 1 and game 2. So what do you have to lose?
I'm totally with you. I mean, I've lived this dream. I mean, we've had tough guys that I've had the privilege of coaching, and if they're deployed properly, they can make a difference. Doesn't mean they have to go out and fight. They just have to be deployed properly. So the other guy knows if he does act up, there's going to be some retribution.
Exactly.
It matters. It does matter.
Yeah. Guys, there's a player that we've briefly mentioned, but I think it's worth spending a bit more time on. It's Alex Newhook. Because people are quick to forget. He's got a ring. This guy's a Stanley Cup champion. He knows what it takes to win. He saw it himself firsthand. There's a problem with his finishing, however, right? We know the speed. We know the skill. My goodness, this guy should have 50 goals. Like, please enlighten me. Tell me how you get the best out of a player like Newhook. In which position do you put him in?
Go, Tony.
Well, you know, in period number 3, when they played 3 lines, and he had Jake Evans centering Demidov on his right and Alex Newhook on his left, because we've been talking about over and over again, if Newhook's a centerman or a winger, guys, I can tell you, watching from the 7th row, right next to the Capitals bench, so I had a really, really good view tonight. I can tell you that the second they put Alex Newhook on the wing, he felt liberated.
Immediately.
He started skating more. He started taking more offensive chances. It felt like some of the weight came off of his shoulders that he had when he was playing center. Now, how can he finish more? He's a guy who's always going to create scoring chances, and he's going to have a hard time finishing, because I also think that a goal scorer, you're kind of born with something, and I don't think he's born with that. The fact of the matter is everything that we already know, guys. Alex Newhook's not a second-line player, but he's being asked to play on a second line. Alex Newhook's not a centerman, but he was being asked to play at center. And not that he can't do it, but, you know, your centerman should always be better face-off guys than Alex Newhook. So he's going to create. He's going to be dangerous because of his speed. I don't think he'll ever be a big-time goal scorer, guys.
No, he's not. He's going to be a third-line left winger, and he's going to be a really good third-line left winger. But that's where he fits on this team. This is all part of the learning process for the player, for the coaching staff, and for the management team. So now they know where he fits. They're starting to figure out where guys fit, because this is where you judge players in games like this. You really do.
You know, the playoffs answer a lot of questions. And I think a lot of people had the answers before, but I think so far, and we're only 2 games in, but I think it's kind of confirmed what everyone thought. The Canadiens are going to need a second-line centerman. They're going to need a second-line winger, maybe. Maybe it could end up being Kirby Dach when he comes back, but we've seen that when players come back from a significant knee injury, the next year is kind of like it's going to take a while. The Canadiens need a second-line centerman. They need another second-line winger. Ivan Demidov's going to have to get bigger. He's going to have to get stronger. He's going to have to put on more muscle. And the Canadiens are going to need some more energy coming out of their 4th line. They're going to need to get this lineup bigger, guys. Guys, Cole Caulfield looks small.
We agree.
You know, he's a very, very good player. And in the regular season, he scored 37 goals. I know he scored in game 1, but he's having a hard time getting to those areas, guys. I saw it tonight. They're doing stuff, and he's getting hit. He's getting hit from behind. The referee's on calling it, and he's trying to fight through it, and good for him. But he just can't get there. He looks very small, guys. They need to get bigger. They need to get bigger.
Yeah. Well,
we agree.
Before we get to going on some of the questions, I know Sammy's got a few lined up for us here, but a quick word on Juraj Slafkovsky, because he got a lot of flack after game 1. People were a bit disappointed. They were expecting, right? Like you're saying, Tony, he's the big guy. He's supposed to be a factor in the playoffs, and maybe he was a little disappointing in game 1. Game 2, however, I didn't mind him. I thought he had a good game. What'd you guys think?
I'll go.
Who are we talking about?
Slafkovsky. I'll go first, Tony. I thought Slafkovsky had a real good night. I thought he was physical. I thought he was hard on the puck. I thought he shot the puck really well. He battled for loose pucks. He wasn't a drain on his line mates. I thought he was a good player tonight. I did.
I saw Slafkovsky compete. I saw him take a couple of good wrist shots on goal, one of which almost beat Logan Thompson, who really battled hard tonight. I saw Slafkovsky wanted it. I saw him go into the corners. I saw him dig out loose pucks. Once again, still a young hockey player. I know some people are, pretty hard on him. I didn't have a problem with Slafkovsky's game whatsoever.
Amazing. Yeah. That's the playoff Slav we were all hoping to see.
I really like Josh Anderson and Christian Dvorak tonight, guys. I really.
Hard not to.
Third line. Oh, wow.
It's a great line. Hey, Brendan Gallagher, too. By the way, Tony, I don't know, you said you were sitting by the Washington bench. Did you see him get cross-checked in the face by Roy?
I did.
It's unbelievable. Like, when did the league just say cross-check in open season? Let him do it. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, and he went back to the bench, Brendan, and you could just tell his body language. He looked at the bench and he's like, really? Like, is this happening? Like, what in the world is going on here? Also, like I mentioned, Cole Caulfield got cross-checked from behind. He went face first, hit the ice. He didn't like it. He looked up, looked at the referee. No call. So guys are getting away with stuff, which once again begs the question: why would you be worried about putting Xhekaj in now if guys are getting away with more than they got away with in the regular season?
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree, but we've been talking about this for a while, so it's hopefully they're going to listen.
Yeah, well, we'll clip this and send it to the Habs. Hopefully they get the message here. Look, next game 3 in Montreal, right? They're going to have the home ice and the home crowd advantage here, and hopefully you can join us in watching this game because we're going to be at Sir Winston Churchill Pub at Winnie's this Friday night for a watch party and post-game live, okay? Starting at 6 p.m. It's no secret. Winnie's on Crescent is the place to cheer on the Canadiens. We will stress, we will chant, we will high-five or maybe cry, but we will do it all with the Habs fans at Winnie's. It's a warm and friendly atmosphere and gastropub fare ready for the playoffs. Signature appetizers from the classic nachos and wings to pizza and roast beef sandwiches. Hopefully we get to see you there. 1459 Crescent. Be there. Don't be square. Let's watch the game together, folks. Okay. I think it's time for some questions here. We've got a lot lined up. Sammy, let's start rolling them. Oh, and Subordinate sends us $5. Thank you, sir. He asked, Mr. McGuire, was Patrik Laine skating always this weak?
I wouldn't use the term weak, but I'd say that if there was one flaw in his game, there was the question mark about his acceleration with the puck on his stick and the ability to play in confined areas. So it wasn't always one of his model things. The thing that really made him a top draft pick was his shot. It was overwhelming, and it has been throughout. He had one calling card that was really good, and also his ability to be a creative player, but his skating was never his hallmark. No.
And let's not forget also he got severely injured at the preseason, did not get surgery, opted to not get surgery to be able to play the season. So we'll give him slack for now, but next season, hopefully it starts to pick back up. All right, let's go with the next one. Martin sends us $2 as well. Thank you, Martin. He says, bring in the Bash brothers. He says, bring in Arber and Florian Xhekaj.
No, they're not going to be bringing Florian. Florian's not coming in. He's going to be playing in Laval, and they got to go on a long run. I know Tony's watched them a lot. I know you've watched them, Shane. I've watched them a lot. What a season. Over 20 goals in the American Hockey League. Just a phenomenal year. They're not bringing him up, but I think Arber should be in the lineup.
I think we're all in agreement on that. Most of the chat is as well. I think hopefully Marty is too. All right, let's go with the next one. Don Downey, he's asking, it looks to me like Tom Wilson wants nothing to do with Anderson. Am I wrong about this?
Tony, you were in the building. What was it like?
I was there, and I saw Josh Anderson, once again, say to Tom Wilson, you know what, I'm not scared of you. I gave it to you before. I'll give it to you again. I've had enough of your tactics, of your antics, and I'll take you on. And, Anderson is trying his best. He did it last game with 8:35 left in regulation. The Canadiens were down by a score 2-1. He basically pushed, slashed, cross-checked Tom Wilson basically in the crest. He went down. And then he towered over him, and he looked at him, and he was like, you know what? I've had enough of you.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing tonight. And Anderson is doing his very best to, try to show his teammates that he's there, and he'll do whatever he can and whatever it takes against Tom Wilson. So you're right. Anderson has really stepped up, guys. Not only the last 2 games, stepped up the entire season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We agree. Tony, we know you got to get going. Go catch that PJ and be safe coming home.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Tony Marinaro, everyone. The show is named after him, after all. So great stuff from him. And Le Club du Matin, shout out to Max Lalonde, Anthony Desaulniers, and of course, Gilbert Delorme. You can catch them at BPM Sport Radio in the morning. Of course.
I have one question for you,
Club du Matin.
Shane. I've been on a couple private planes in my career. I've never heard of anybody being nervous on one. Tony, we're going to have to work on Tony.
Look, I had the pleasure of flying with Tony going to Vegas for the 2024 NHL draft. To be fair, our flying experience that time was horrendous, the worst I've ever seen. But clearly, no, he's got a bit of a flight phobia, and it's completely reasonable. But no, I was jealous, man. That private jet looked really nice. Looked really, really nice. All right, next question. Let's roll it. Ooh, IBMB23 sends us 1393. All right, so Caulfield Demidov. I see what you did there, my friend. I like it. Pierre, I've been a McGuire fan for a long time. Who hasn't? Come on. Thanks for passing on your knowledge. With all the questions with the Habs at the beginning of the season, which one has truly been answered for you?
Okay, I've got a couple. One is Sam Montembeault. I had a big question about his ability to play. I don't have that question anymore, and I think in a perfect world, Montembeault and Justin Fowler are going to be the goalie. Yeah, Jake, I was going to call him Justin Fowler. Jacob Fowler are going to be the goalies for the Canadiens for a long time. So that question was answered for me. Lane Hudson, I had no question Lane Hudson was going to be a star player, but I think a lot of people had a big question about Lane Hudson. I don't think that question's there anymore. And then I had 2 more. One, could Suzuki withhold the pressures of being a number 1 center? He was able to do it glowingly. And then the last one I had was, will Josh Anderson be able to get his career back on track? And the answer is 100%. Tony talked about it. Shane's talked about it. I've tried to talk about it. So those were the ones that I kind of were really pressing in my mind, and they've all worked out positively. The one question mark that I had that hasn't been answered properly, could Kirby Dach be the second center? I wasn't sure about it. I don't think he can be. And I think that's where the Canadiens need to find somebody that can be better than Kirby.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything. And look, I'll take the opportunity to plug my show with Grant McCagg, the SIG podcast, Recruits Draftcast, because you mentioned Lane Hudson, and we had the pleasure of talking with his dad, Rob, for the second time on Sunday. Incredible man, unreal interview. So do go check out the Recruits Draftcast. And of course, I'm going to plug your show, Pierre. Come on, the eye test every day, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Pierre and Jimmy Murphy go live talking everything NHL. Do go check them out. It's well worth the watch. I'm a bit biased, but I'm a big fan of the show. All right, next question. Andrew is asking, hey, Pierre, I asked you and Tony after the Habs and Blackhawks game when we would see Demidov on Power Play 1. What is Martin St. Louis waiting for?
I think for something like tonight. I think he was waiting for something like tonight. And so the kid's had to get his feet wet. You know, after the Chicago game, the last 3 games that he's played, 2 have been playoff games, 1 has been a regular season game. It's not like he's dominated those games. In fact, I think he's kind of struggled in those games. He was a little bit better tonight. The more ice time he got, I thought he got better. But I think eventually he will see him on the first power play. But it's hard. I can just tell you this. It's hard to inject a new player into a power play position when the playoffs are starting. Guys don't appreciate that very much. And you got to think about one of the things that's great about the Montreal Canadiens, Shane, is they're a team. They're a true illustration of a team. They really respect one another. They like one another. A lot of times guys throw that stuff around. It's a lot of hot air. In Montreal's case, it's not. They've proven it time in and time out. They really are a team.
The power of friendship. It's a remarkable thing. No, it's the chemistry within the locker room is something to behold, and it's something to build off of as well, right? This group is young and they've got more pieces coming in, and it's encouraging. It's very encouraging.
Really
okay,
yeah,
next question. Habs legend fan 33 sends $13.99. Thank you, Habs legend fan. We love you. Hey boys, brutal game. Okay, I love what Marty has done all year. Yes. And this playoff coaching experience is a learning experience for him too. Great point. Now, make the changes needed to win, Marty. Yes.
You know, and I think it's a fair point, a fair couple points. I think Xhekaj has to go in. I think they've got to really evaluate what they're going to do with the first power play. I think they have to make a hard decision on Patrik Laine. There's some things they're going to have to do. You know, is Newhook really a center? I don't think he is. I think he should go on the wing. So there's some things they need to look at. And I think they will do that. Marty's shown that once he sees something that fits what he believes, he's not afraid to do it. But it takes time for him to see it, which is fine. I'd rather have it that way than just somebody that continually throws stuff against the wall to see if it's going to stick.
And it's a great point there as made as well, that it is a learning experience for Marty. You know, it's his first time in the playoffs as a coach. He's played in the playoffs before, we know that. Yeah. But as a coach, it's his first go around, and it's not the same. Right?
Coaching in the playoffs and playing the playoffs are two way different deals.
Exactly.
It's really it's so, like, for the players, they're loving it because it's the kind of hockey they want to play.
Yeah.
People have no idea how fast it goes down there on the bench when you have to make decisions in like minuscule amounts of time. And there's a lot of stuff going on in a hurry. It's a lot different. And once you get some reps at it, you become better at it, but it takes some time to get those reps, and it really does.
Exactly. Okay, let's go next question here. Biagio sends us $7. Thank you, sir. I think we've seen Galley, Dvorak, and Anderson be successful because they're pesty. Does that mean potentially putting Pizzetta to be thorn for Armia?
No, I get it, because Armia's probably hurt, and Joel only played almost 8 minutes, a little less, 7.5 minutes tonight. So I could see that. I think there's going to be a lot of roster scrutiny by the coaches when they finally see the tape, and then they look at the ice times, because they'll do that at the end of the game. And you'll say, okay, well, how much more can this guy play? How much more can that guy play? You know, how are we going to get back in the series? So I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple actual changes for the lineup. I wouldn't be surprised going into game 3.
Marty and his cards, right? They're all in play. They're all in play. All right, let's do 2 more. Let's roll it. Andre is asking, question for Pierre. Being down 2-0, should Martin St. Louis be more focused on player development rather than actually trying to win this series? Not that one option automatically negates the other.
No, I see the point. Yeah, I see the point. I would say, no, you're trying to win the series because you're still trying to teach your guys it's all about winning.
Exactly.
I think you'll see Laine is getting better. He's getting challenged. He's making mistakes, but he keeps going out there. You know, same with Jake Evans. He's making mistakes. He's still going out there. Newhook, I think you move him from center of the wing, you see him starting to thrive. I think they're doing it the same way. The development part is there, but the winning part, they're trying to win games. You could see it at the end. They're trying to win games. So I think they're doing it well. Montreal's playing with house money. Let's be fair here. Nobody thought this team was making the playoffs. Not even the parents of the players thought they were making the playoffs.
Literally, Rob Hudson told us that he did not. Never expected this. Never expected this.
No. Okay. Who would have thought that Boston would miss? That Detroit,
New York,
that the New York Rangers would miss. Come on, and that the team that almost made it was, besides Montreal, was Columbus.
Right.
Who would have thought that? Come on, let's get real.
Beautiful game. It's a beautiful game, and anything can happen. And anything can happen in this series, right? There's still more hockey to be played. Anyways,
there's a lot of racetrack left in this series. It's not far from over.
You're going home now. You're going home with the best, crowd advantage in the league, bar none. So
I agree.
Listen, the Habs have been good at home this season. Anything's possible.
I love it when, I'm watching the games here. I watch all the games. That's why if you see me looking up, I'm watching Dallas and Colorado as we're doing this. But I just got to tell you, I'm watching the game on TV the other day, and it's New Jersey at Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And they're raving about the crowd and how intense. I'm like, are you serious? I'm going to bring you, I'll show you a crowd. I'll bring you to Montreal, and you can sit in the stands and listen and tell me the difference. It's not even close.
Different.
And I mean, I'll tell you what, I coached the Stanley Cup final in old Chicago Stadium. There were 24,000 people in the building. You could feel the floor on the bench shake during the national anthem. The actual floor was shaking below your feet.
Wow.
So, as loud as some people think their crowd is, I don't think any crowd's louder than Montreal in the playoffs.
Come on.
And I can tell you this, no problem. The loudest crowds I've ever experienced were in not in the new one, old Chicago Stadium was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Wow, that's good stuff. All right, last question. Let's do it. I'm not going to pronounce that. I think it's McHugh. McHugh 2713. Love it. Okay. What do you think Habs should do with Laine? Straight to
it depends what the trainers and the doctors say tonight. If he was legitimately hurt and they don't think he can be 100%, I would say, no, you're not playing in game 3. I wouldn't be afraid to do that, but it comes down to what the medical report is. At least that's my take, Shane. I don't know what you're thinking, but if he can't be 100%, I've seen him at close to 100% in the last little while, and it hasn't been good enough. So if he's not at 100%, I'm not sure I'd want him in the lineup it's really a do or die game on Friday night. They got to win that game to be relevant. They really do.
Exactly. Right now, feelings are not of the essence. It's all about winning and about putting the best possible lineup on the ice. So if you have to bench him, if you have to sit him in the stands, that's what you have to do. But I leave that decision to the man who's made a ton of great decisions this season and will continue to do so. Martin Saint-Louis, I'm still a believer. I still think he is the man for the job. Pierre, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you, my man. You're awesome at your job, both doing this and also being a producer for our show. We're so grateful for everything you do for our show. Thank you so much, Shane. Really appreciate it.
Means a lot coming from you, Pierre, and all the best to you tonight. And you can catch Pierre and Jimmy Murphy. Go watch the games. Go watch the games, and you can talk about it tomorrow on the eye test at 4 p.m. live Eastern. Thank you to Pierre McGuire. Have a good one. All right. I'm not quite done just yet. Okay. I got a few more things to tell you folks. First and foremost, our friends over at Bomboloni Boss. God, I love saying that. Bomboloni Boss are doing a giveaway. Okay. They're giving away 2 tickets to Sunday's playoff game. And it's super easy to enter to win. You take a picture of yourself and your loved ones enjoying a delicious bomboloni at home. You post it on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and if you use the hashtag Bomboloni Game Day, Bomboloni Boss could pick you to be the winner on Friday at 8 p.m. Stay tuned for that, okay? And one more thing, if you love seeing Habs car flags this time of year, I think I have one somewhere in the garage. I need to rustle around to get it, but it really makes me pump personally for the playoffs. And if you're wondering where to get these car flags, you can head over at hockeyjersey.com, and hockey is spelled HKY jersey.com. That's where they're selling officially licensed Montreal Canadiens flags. Okay. Hockey Jersey has the cheapest prices online and throughout the city. Go get your car flags over there. That'll do it for me tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. You will get Tony back hopefully tomorrow. I don't know how his travel is going to be going, but it was a pleasure nonetheless on my end. Hopefully we'll get a better result there on Friday night, and hopefully you can all join us at Sir Winston Churchill Pub. I'll try to be there as well, but Tony's going to be there, and there's going to be a post-game show right after. So for producer Sammy, I'm producer Shane. This has been another great edition of the Sick Podcast. We'll catch you around next time. Take care.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBi.tb, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.